What's up? What's up? Big Brand MMA 148 Dana White Contender Series Episode 7. How are you, sir, Mr. Subliminal?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me again. I'm excited for this one. The dogs are going
You
to be
are? That's
barking.
good.
Yeah.
Well, at least someone is. At least someone is. That's good. Last week, we'll go over a little quick overview. So last week, had some good reads, man. Had some good reads. I can't actually remember what the first fight. Oh, the first fight I played the over in the Hassan Zada, and I kind of felt confident about that. I felt like there would be one knockdown, and it would just sail over because they're both tough. And it did. Played half a unit on that. Should have been more because I had a good read, and then donated half a unit on the Japanese dude because I picked him. I thought he had tons of grappling upside. Knew I lost that bet straight away as soon as he got stuffed. Even when he got that takedown at the end of the round, I'm like, nah, he's struggling way too much.
Mm.
It's kind of dead on the feet, and so I regretted that one, and then passed on the best over in terms of the heart and who's the other guy?
Bennett.
Bennett. That's it, Benjamin Bennett. And yeah, that one was like I almost picked him at 2.5, and I like that one the most. I mean, not even close. And passed on it, so that was annoying. And then I parlayed the under 1.5 in the Brazilian. That for some reason Gianni played the over, and then I parlayed it with the over 1.5 in the main event, so that hit too. So that got me like break even. I lost $60 because I had $100 on Tao. I bet Tao when he went up to $3 something, and then I bet him at $11 after round two. Kind of surprising that he couldn't even drop old mate in round three. He landed a lot of clean shots.
Mm.
So I guess now we know that Tao doesn't really have any power whatsoever, which we saw that on tape, right? I was like, I like the over 1.5 because he's attritionally beating these bums. So yeah, unfortunate, man. Like good read on the over good read on every single total, actually, every single total, and then I just donated on the Japanese. But oh well, is what it is. Break even. It's better than nothing. How did you go?
Yeah, I think I did the same with the Japanese guy. Last minute play, obviously with the grappling upside. He did win round one, but then obviously just got cooked. He got out athleted basically by the Cameroonian. And then I had obviously Hart was the one spoke about on the pod. Close fight, I'm not mad at the decision at all. I did actually edge it to Bennett, so is what it is.
Yeah, I actually remember that. I forgot to mention I live bet Hart, and I kind of felt like it could be 2-0. So maybe as soon as I locked it in, I was like, shouldn't have locked that in. But then, I just had a feeling he was going to win round three clear, and I thought he did. But
yeah, was there a 30-27? Or was it
no, there was
29-28, 229-28 for Bennett, yeah.
But it was a split, and I can't complain
yeah.
either. I can't complain. It just sucked because I had decent plus money, plus 150 after round two. So if I had the over, that would have just kind of still would have profited. But anyway, it is what it is. Good reads all season. So we'll just have to profit, I guess. But let's get into it, shall we? Nice and short, this one. Rose, actually, got one more comment. Crystal, nipples under the forearms are a great look right now. Yeah, I mean, can't agree, can't disagree. So each to their own. All right, let's get into it for the second time. Let me give her that comment. Rose Conceição Alexia Thainara. So high level fight for women's. Alexia Thainara. I was actually wondering when we're going to see this girl because I've seen her a few times on taping Amanda Rianne. So she's in the UFC currently, and she submitted a rear naked choke, and it's why I'm not really high on Amanda. She's meant to be a black belt, but this Alexia chick is actually a blue belt, and she was a blue belt at the time when I did the Instagram stalk. So I was wondering where this girl is. What is she now? 10-1. Her only loss was to Bruna Brazil, so I seen her on Bruna Brazil's tape. So that's like 5 years ago. She was 21, and she looked a little bit green there. She's scrappy, goes for takedowns. I don't know what belt she is now. I didn't really go that deep. But yeah, she seems to still have a good rear naked choke game, armbar game. And this other chick, Rose, she's more of a grinder, wrestling background, LFA champion. Also thought she was quite good. I don't know if I played her or faded her in the last fight. I might have. She was a minus 200 or better than minus 200 favorite. I might have tried to fade her, but some red flags there. She kind of doesn't really have much finishing upside. A lot of these girls get up. She's just a grinder, and kind of like an underground, hidden underground hottie as well. So yeah, I mean, it's competitive. The line is close and competitive. I'm not sure. I don't really have a strong read at the moment. I'm kind of leaning the Alexia girl just because she seems to have the better jiu-jitsu and a bit more scrappy, maybe potentially more striking upside. Because I've seen Alani Lopez take Rose down, even though she has a wrestling background and mount her. And obviously, I don't really like these one-dimensional wrestlers. Kind of like Bennett last week. Just keep grinding and so much control time. But if I had actually landed something clean in round 2 or 1, he could have been 30-27. So that's why I'm leaning on Thainara, but they can both be taken down. They're pretty similar weaknesses and strengths. What do you think?
Yeah, so this is actually, I got my first play on this fight. I played Thainara at plus 120 earlier today. Yeah, I guess you kind of broke it down well, like athleticism and everything, and technique probably on the Conceição side, scrappiness, and I'd feel like Thainara's more of a dog. They're both kind of similar in what they do. You said that Conceição has a wrestling background, which she does. She's apparently a national wrestling champion, but her wrestling is kind of mid, like it doesn't really look great, and she doesn't always go to it. And she's also not very dangerous from top, and her control's not the best. But she does have pretty good striking technique for being a wrestler. Thainara, she is a little bit more experienced, obviously 10-1. She's aggressive, pushes forward. Striking is quite ugly. It's a bit wild, but I think she's pretty tenacious. She'll go for takedowns, lands ground and pound, she's good at taking the back. This Conceição was getting taken down by a kickboxer quite a lot in her last fight. I kind of thought she could have lost that fight. I was surprised it was a unanimous decision for Conceição. I thought it could have at least been. I thought one judge might see it for Lopez, but yeah, I just thought the plus money. I thought I had to take it. It's now moved. I think it's either even or Thainara's the favorite or something. But yeah, I just thought the plus money was quite good. She looked quite scrawny in her early fights, Thainara, but she seems to have filled out a lot, and the size difference wasn't huge at the weigh-ins. So yeah, I just think it's going to be quite a close fight. So plus 120 was an easy click for me. Like I was expecting Conceição to be a bigger favorite because she kind of ticks all the boxes. She's athletic, Brazilian, and lesbian, and there's like 10 of those in the UFC. So I thought she would be a bigger favorite, but it was actually quite close when it opened up. And obviously a lot of money, well, not a lot of money, but some money came in on her, and then I took the plus 120. So first play of the night.
Yep, it's definitely the public play. I woke up this morning, 7 a.m. and just 2 or 3 plays in the Discord, all on the same play. So hopefully you're all wrong and you all lose the money, but let's move on. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I got no reads, but that's how I'm leaning. So I'll look into it in depth because it's a competitive fight. Last fight that was like that last week, in my opinion, was completely accurate. Hart and Bennett. So this could be accurate. It could be back and forth. Grappling fight. Alrighty. Kevin Vallejos versus Cam Teague. Teague, 7-0, but the first time I heard about this guy was just recently when he fought Austin Lingo. Didn't get a chance to tape him. To tape him for that Fury fight, I should say, and I should have. But he just basically survived Lingo's onslaught and then knocked him out in rounds 2. That's the best guy he's ever fought. He's undefeated, but he's got 2 losses in amateurs, and not that far away, 2022. So back to back, he got decisioned. Obviously, he's a huge Homer Simpson. Like he just tanks damage and is very gritty and just comes on. I'll give him that. Comes back strong. If you show any chinks in your armor, he will come on. That's basically his style. He doesn't fight any other way. seems to have good jiu-jitsu as well. Kevin Vallejo's, we all know him. He came back after losing to Gene Silva. I mean, that's a high-level fight in Dana White Contender Series. I think he probably would have beat Luke Riley as well, who was originally meant to face. He's fought some good guys. He fought Grigori, knocked him out. Fought Miletic, knocked him out in round 1, who was, a mainstay in LFA, another Argentinian guy with some hype. So a good level of opposition, even though it's on the regionals. That makes sense that he's the favorite. He's only 22 now, man. So much experience. It should be Teague, but not really been parlaying anyone on Contender Series. I don't really feel like parlaying him either as well. So I don't know. Maybe look at this from a totals perspective. What's your read?
Yeah, we've obviously broken down Kevin before when he fought last year on Contender Series. Fast hand, slip boxing, good movement, mixing in takedown, seemed pretty well-rounded for his age. Obviously, been very active. He has had like 13 or 14 fights in like 3 years, so he's been very, very active. But he does have some weaknesses, and it does seem like the line is quite wide because Teague can probably exploit those weaknesses. I think like he's huge. He's like 6 foot. I think his last fight said he's 5'10", but then his other fights say he's 6 foot. But he did look considerably bigger than Kevin, who's only 5'7" at the weigh-ins. But yeah, as he said, he's a homer. He tanks damage. He's very hittable, but he seems to just walk through everything. He does have the 2 losses from 2022, but those are decisions. I didn't watch them. I don't know if he got hurt or anything, but I haven't seen him hurt in any fights. He just tanks it and walks forwards. What he did to Lingo was pretty impressive, I thought. No one did that to Lingo in the UFC. He was the first man to finish him by strikes. I like his style, really. He's just he's one of these Homer Simpson guys who just walks forward. He seems pretty scrambly. Like I think he can be taken down, but he like attacks with chokes, scrambles well, guillotines, front chokes. He's kind of a death by 1,000 cuts kind of guy. So yeah, definitely wouldn't be parlaying Kevin here. Although I do think he's obviously the cleaner of the two, better technique and everything. But I do think this is wide, so I wouldn't mind a little bit of money on Teague just as another underdog play. Really, I think there's going to be a lot of underdogs this card who come through, and I think Teague's another one that could get another play out of me.
Interesting. No, it's an interesting fight. I don't think Cam is as bad as some of these guys say he is. I mean, he's just a homer, I mean,
yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it. Like, homer's not a bad thing. It just means you're tough. No. Some dudes are not even tough, Will Curry, definitely not a homer. And maybe if he was a homer, he'd be a bit better, but he just falls apart in there. So it's a good intangible. I'm trying to find the totals, but I can't. That's why I missed the last thing you said. Here we go. It's like so far down. So the over is, minus 200, which is interesting. Kevin Vallejo's a lot of round 1 and round 2 knockouts. Does he hit different than Lingo, for example? I think he does. I think Lingo's power's overrated. How many knockouts has he got when he got to the UFC?
He was deading people on the regional scene before the UFC.
I know. I fell for the hype. Yeah, absolute bum. Yeah, definitely won't be playing that over. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next fight. Francesco Maio versus Kevin Christian. This is just a hilarious, huge bum fight. So Francesco, we saw this guy's his whole entire career is on tape, and there's just no idea about him whatsoever, right? So amateur career takes a guy down, he hurts the guy just gives up, takes him down, finishes him. No, that was actually a first pro fight. John Aristide, decent fighter, takes him down, the guy breaks his arm 1 minute, we know nothing. Angus Stewart, drops him a couple of times. Hewitt looks to be breaking him in round 2. Hewitt lands legal knee, gets a DQ win. Right? Strange that's not a non-contest, right? How many times do we see a DQ there? Like, but fair enough, whatever. And then, what the hell am I? Then he gets this Vanderlei Jr. guy. Absolute, the biggest cab driver they could have ever got for him in the entire world. This guy lost. This guy, let me just put up. He deserves his own tab. This guy lost a decision to Guillermo Cadena in 2002. If you know who Guillermo Cadena is, this guy has 25 losses. He basically taps. He's a guard puller and he just taps in round 1. Right? It's just all round 1 losses or round 2. Right? Matthew Bonner finished this guy in round 1. Matthew Bonner, dude. Darren Stewart finished him in 2 minutes. And this guy just decisioned this cab driver. Anyway, obviously, Francesco knocked him out. So Kevin Christian was, he was, a massive underdog to Porto. And I feel that's just like a repeat. That Porto was a big, juicy Brazilian guy on LFA. Miguel dropped him a couple times. He tired out, and Kevin just knocked him out. All right, so this feels like the exact same fight. Mazeo's live to kill him. All his upside is round 1. Like anytime the fight's extended, even like end of round 1, he looked absolutely death-gassed in round 2 versus Hewitt. He just seems to be blowing, seems to be gassing. He's extremely green. Kevin, I will say, he was like not even a light heavyweight a few years ago. I think he was a welterweight, another Brazilian just moving up a few weight classes. But he showed heart, he shows grit. He looked like he was going to knock out Porto like 2 minutes into that fight because he wasn't going to give up. And and Mazzeo is the other way around. So, but I'm actually surprised Mazzeo is the underdog. I thought he was the A side, especially because Christian was a big underdog versus Porto, and now because he high rolled that win, he's now the favorite, right? And everyone thinks he's going to knock out Mazzeo, which is possible. It's possible. I think both these guys can knock each other out. But yeah, it's a dog or pass for me. I'll just lie bet Kevin if he survives. Just simple as that. The under 1.5, let's see where it stands. Minus 200, that makes sense. Not sure I'm rushing to it, because Mazzeo is, I don't know, Mazzeo grapples when he shouldn't be grappling. He's just like a one-punch overhand kind of knockout guy. Not feeling good about this under 1.5. But then on the other side, I feel like Kevin can break him. Kevin can definitely break him. So, yeah. Neither of these guys are light heavyweights. They're both weighted under. And I kind of wanted to fade Kevin because of that, but then I realized Mazzeo is doing the same thing, moving up. And then they're both weighed in on the limit. So I guess they're just settling into this weight class for Contender Series. Who knows if they'll drop, but massive shit show. What do you say?
Yeah. Oh, God, this fucking fight.
We got 12 minutes.
I've been very vocal about Mazzeo in the Discord, how much I dislike this guy and how much he's a fraud. And I'm very disappointed that they haven't got someone better to match him up with on the Contender Series. Christian, 1 fight in 5 years. Older fights are terrible quality. You can't even see what's going on. This is a shit show. It's whoever lands first, I think. I mean, if you're, if you have to play a side, I guess you go the dog because of that. If you play, if you can get props, then I think maybe Mazzeo round 1, Christian 2-3 could be a good angle. But yeah, nothing to add. I mean, I'm not going to have any money on this fight. I think I'm just going to enjoy the chaos while it lasts. But yeah, it wouldn't be surprised me if either of these guys win. But yeah, I'm just going to watch it and enjoy.
That's an elite breakdown right there.
Yeah.
All right. That's why you're not a billionaire, mate, because you're scared to put your money in on fights like that.
Show fights.
All right. We'll move on. Let me address my dad's comment. Finally, a reasonable hour for the real fans on the East Coast. This is week 7, and for 7 weeks straight, we've been starting at the exact same time every week. This is the one show where I'm consistent, where I have the same day and same time because of Subliminal, because it's like 11 o'clock at night, so we can't do any later. But yeah, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Just shows that you're not listening, mate. First time listener. Thanks, Dad. Alrighty. This fight. So we've got last two fights: Daniel Frunza versus Vadim Katsui. Frunza. I think a lot of us bet him against Talanzic. We were all a little bit scared in LFA. He was a decent sized underdog. We were all a little bit scared with his, grappling. He's been rear naked choked a bunch. But you watch the guy and he's got killer power, man. And there's something about him, if he does survive, one of these fights where he didn't get rear naked choked, he actually got out of so many deep rear naked chokes. I remember thinking he's got the heart that he survives, and if he can survive, he's going to look massive value. And it was competitive. So Lanzic is probably his best win. Before that it was Jalen Fuller, who was a bit chinny. And I think it was 1-1 into the third. It was a bit low volume, which was quite annoying. He did get taken down. He didn't give up his back for once, and he knocked out Talanzic at the end. He's fighting this Katsui guy, which I've never heard of. I was really hoping that he would be a fraud, right? Because there's a lot of these frauds in Contender Series with these records. And I don't know, man, like decent level of position, right? He's fought Lomali Nagliev, who's a really decent ACA guy, beat him by decision. I don't really know much about Fontes, but decent record. And is Ismail Nodiev, who is now, for some reason, in the UFC, right? Austrian Wonder Boy. And he knocked him out, and he was kind of he was losing that fight. He hurt his leg from a check, and he was kind of wobbling, and then Ismail just walked into an overhand right, a bit like our boy Batsuski from KSW. We bet him against Materla. And his knockout loss. The guy is 9-1 now, knocked him out. But I watched the fight, and same thing. He went to leg kick, hurt his leg from a check, fell down, and it was over. The guy threw a couple of ground pound shots, so maybe kept that into our process. What percentage do we give Frunza to win the check KO, leg kick check KO? But other than that, I mean, it's a dog or pass. Again, this, as I said, this guy, good level of competition. He seems really good everywhere. I have to go deep to see if he's getting dropped or anything anywhere, just to see what the KO upside would be for Frunza. I think Frunza can knock out anyone. He's just a bit of a speed disadvantage and, maybe the martial arts and volume disadvantage. But again, dog or pass for me, I will not parlay. There was only one guy I was going to parlay, and that was that kickboxer versus that absolute Japanese bum. And that was sweaty too. He poked him twice in the eye. If I bet him, he would have poked him one more time, and it would have been a DQ loss. I know that for a fact. It's a dog or pass. Frunza, what KO punch upside, but it's really high in my opinion. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I like Frunza here too. This Katsui guy, is that how you say it? He's coming off a 2-year layoff. I don't know. Do you know why he's been off for 2 years? Did you find out?
No, that's the thing. Maybe he's one of those guys that was waiting for some sort of shot.
Yeah, so he's been off for 2 years. He's 33. So he's not, super old, but as we know, Dana doesn't want 33-year-olds. He seems okay. Like I watched his last two. Maybe I need to go a little bit deeper on his kind of earlier fights, but they're from like 2016, 2017. Obviously, he's not been very active. But he didn't seem like super impressive in his last two. I thought he kind of looked a bit mid, but hard leg kicks. Obviously doesn't react well to checks, but it's a lot of single shots. Like he's definitely got power. That's clear. Although he only does have 5 knockouts, but we can see he's got power. He doesn't really throw in any combination or anything, but he is obviously very physical, and I think he could exploit the grappling and get takedowns and everything. But I didn't see too much of his wrestling in his last two. He's just kind of more of a controlling against a cage and that type of guy, like a grinder. But 2-year layoff, so it's a bit sketchy if you want to like parlay him, especially at like minus 250, minus 275, that kind of number. But this Frunza guy, he's a striker, doesn't really mix in the takedowns as far as I saw. Really nice straight right hand, like he's really quick. He's got fast hands overall, actually, good head movement. Sometimes, he mixes in kicks and stuff, but he stalks his opponents and cuts off the cage and everything, a bit like Nordiev was doing in the last fight versus Katsui. And obviously, as he said, he was losing that fight until he walked into an overhand. His first, who's that? How was that, Katsui? 32 weeks ago. Yeah, I think it's hard to cap the grappling, but I think the line should be close. I don't think I've seen some people say he's like KO or bust, this Frunza guy, but I don't think he is. Like Katsui's not going to get a contract if he's just holding the guy against the cage or grinding against the cage. Like, and I think that's common knowledge now that you can't get into the UFC by doing that on the Contender Series. So yeah, I like this Frunza guy. I think I'll probably have half a unit on him at least, to be honest. He looks in shape. He's in really good shape at the weigh-ins and everything. So I think the layoff angle, I think he's good on the feet. I think he can hang on the feet because he's very like single shot. There's just a lot of things I like on the Frunza side, to be honest. So I think I'll play him. I'm just kind of watching the line, although it does seem to be getting worse.
Cool. Very nice. Very long roundabout way of saying dog or pass, but it's good. All right. We have less than 4 minutes, so let's go to the main event.
Won't take long.
So the main event is Bailey Schoenfelder versus Danilo Voievodkin.
Nailed it.
So I'll let you take this one away because I don't have much to say. So
so this Bailey Schoenfelder guy, a lot of people have probably seen him before. He's had 2 fights in LFA, 2 fights in Bellator, but fighting very low level of competition, which is obviously the motto of Dana White's Contender Series. But yeah, he's pretty athletic. He's not a huge heavyweight. I think he weighed in at 225 his last fight.
230 today.
230 today, yeah. So yeah, he's not huge, but he's filling out a bit. Striking is a work in progress. It's not great. It's pretty basic. Defense definitely needs work. He was getting pieced up by this Mark Courier guy in Bellator, who's a big old bum. But, he's a wrestler. I think he's got a wrestling background. He mixes that in, double leg takedowns. His own takedown defense seems pretty solid, but again, not the best competition. He fought the Velasco guy in CFFC, his last fight, who was 6-1, but I don't really rate him. He was the champion, which is surprising, but yeah, I don't really rate. He was on the Contender Series as well. On the other side, you got this Ukrainian guy, Voievodkin, 24. I think he's a Kyokushin practitioner. I don't even know much about Kyokushin. It seems like a striking.
It's combat sambo as well, champions.
Yeah. But I mean, this guy, his tape is fucking hilarious. Like the fights that I could fight are the MMA fights. He is fighting the most out of shape guys I've ever seen a fight. Like it's I literally laughed out loud watching his tape. But he's 6-0. But yeah, I mean, he's fighting even worse competition than Schoenfelder. So I understand the line, but to be honest, I don't think Bailey is amazing. But I think he should beat this Danilo guy. Like as soon as he gets on top and gets to mount, that's normally how Schoenfelder wins. Just gets to mount and then pounds out his opponent. So I see that probably happening in rounds 1 or 2. I wouldn't be surprised, like maybe a sneaky like Bailey round 2 play, but it's probably not very good odds. But yeah, I don't know if you've looked into this fight, but there's not a lot to watch. What to decide.
I have. That's why I don't have much to say because what can I make from Danilo's tape? Like it's literally these guys are just rolling over for him. Six times in a row, and it's like okay, I watched 3, and then I look at the topology, and the other 3 are like even shorter, like 10 seconds. Like what am I gonna see? He's just just literally falling over, like giving up in there. So he does seem like he has power, and like you said, he's got karate and combat sambo, which is pretty much MMA with gloves, boxing gloves, or MMA gloves, and yeah, I mean he could be good, man. Like could be good, but from past experiences, these especially Ukrainian padded bumps are usually like the worst of the worst. Them and Georgians are up there. How many times we see a Georgian that looks good on tape, and even the guy fighting Musale actually had some couple of decent level of competition and still wasn't the one. So Yeah, what do I make? I mean, I'm definitely not playing Bailey because there is a chance that this 260-pound guy could knock him out. You know, could have power. You don't have to be good to have power. So yeah, I mean, Dogger Pass. The under 1.5 again is minus 200, which is like they really put it on the limit where I don't want to play it. You know, just at the right accurate price.
Yeah.
And Bailey, you know, like a guy that's finishes via ground and pound. You know, ground and pound is like so tilting. Like we saw Hines an LFA recently against the bum, ground and pounding that dude, and again went over by 10 seconds, and it could have been stopped 20 seconds before. So
Yeah.
ground and pound finishes just like he went over 5 seconds in Bellator over the 1.5, and he went over a whole minute against Greg Velasco.
Yeah, he's not a potent finisher at all. So
no, not at all. He's green. He's just a bit green. So yeah, I mean maybe the over's the side. But who knows, man? This Danilo guy could just fall apart.
Plus 160, yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Or maybe start round two. Start round two. Not bad.
Yeah.
We'll get plus money. Yeah, Bailey literally no round one finishes. Well, a couple, but even this Corey Mogenberg in Bellator, who's not a heavyweight.
He's so bad. He's so bad.
I mean, that's the first time I bet him. I think he was an underdog. No, he was heavy favorite. What? Oh, it was the under 1.5 that I bet there.
Oh yeah.
I remember I put it on Sherdog. I told everyone it was one of those ones I discovered, and there was no tape on Bailey. But I was like, look at this weigh-in, dude. And the weigh-in was like, he was doing this pose. And then I looked at that he was training at a good gym, and then he had like an NFL background. And I was like, man, this is going to go under. The under was like maybe plus money or something. I was still sweating. I almost made it to round two. But yeah, we're just going around in circles. I'll go over the thing and then we'll get out of here. So Rose, Thainara, I mean, seems competitive. I have to look into it some more if I'm even going to have a bet. Kim Vallejos, Cam Teague, I mean...
Well, he's gone to plus 330. I just seen that. Cam Teague.
Oh, there you go. So someone's parlaying. Oh, well, Dogfather thinks it's Teague in the chat, but I don't know about that. I'll look to live bet, but look at some unders. Potentially unders could be the side here. Maio Christian, I mean, Dogger Pass for me. I think I'm surprised that Maio is the B side here. Frunza, Katsui, Dogger Pass. Look at some unders again. And Schoenfelder, Danilo, I mean, I guess it's a Dogger Pass again. I mean, Bailey is not someone I'll play $1.10. It's just wild. And maybe start round two. Who knows, man? Who knows? This is like a red flag card, in my opinion. You just have you had the girl in the first fight, right?
Yeah, I just got Thainara. I probably play Frunza. I mean, this Teague line is getting... I can't live bet it because it's on. It starts at 1 a.m. Like I'm not staying up.
You can. You choose not to.
I choose not to.
Choose to sleep and be rested like a loser.
Yeah, man, I got to get my beauty sleep. But yeah, Cam Teague plus 330. That's mad. I didn't realize he'd gone up that high. And Frunza, and then I kind of like the start round 2 in the main event because Bailey's just not. He's just not a finisher. But then watch him come out and blast through this guy. But
well, who knows? This guy could be the biggest freaking bat. Or this guy could knock him out. You know, it's just
yeah, exactly. He's hittable.
Main event on Contender Series is always some weird main events, man. Like
weird shit.
Like Malik and that Lewis dude. It's just like such a shit show. Like a lot of people are playing Wes Schultz because there's like an aura of maybe Malik can gas and slow down, and this fight is the same. It's like there's like an aura of 2 green dudes. Danilo could crack, Bailey could lay an egg. Like who the hell knows, man? I was actually going to say something. Yeah, last week we had good reads on all the totals, so maybe we just do that.
I fucking said over 1.5 is the best bet in the Hassan Zada fight, and I didn't fucking bet it.
I don't actually remember that. I didn't listen back to it. I taped and because I felt like there was a play there. You know, I felt like obviously Mantello closed in a lot, so I'm like I was leaning Hassan Zada, and then when I watched, I was like, definitely not. This is a pass, clear pass from money line. But then I was like, oh, it's over 1.5. Like both these guys are tough, and surprisingly, Dylan's never been KO'd. I didn't realize that till I taped.
Loves getting sub though.
Yeah, he does. He loves getting sub when he's winning as well.
Yeah.
What a bum. All right. Thank you very much, sir. That was good.
No worries.
Like and subscribe. Go follow Subliminal. He's breaking even now. He's back. He's on the streak. And yeah, I'll see you in a
Turn
few
that
days.
around. All right, bro.
Grateful dude, living up to his name. Appreciate the breakdowns. Thanks for listening, Grateful dude. Leave a comment, mate. All right, peace out.
Peace.